So part of it was to restore their deterrence capacity. The other thing which is interesting, in my opinion, is that they were testing how they're going to restore their deterrence capacity in a very new political environment. It was not going to be Operation Cast Lead 2. If we mean by Operation Cast Lead, the massive and indiscriminate targeting of civilian population and civilian infrastructure. It was going to be another operation, but within the limitations of the new political environment. And the new political environment meant the new governments in Egypt and Turkey. Secondly, it meant the fact that they had this Goldstone report hanging over them, the possibility, which they were very worried about, of being prosecuted for committing war crimes and crimes against humanity. You might recall that around 3 years ago, when the Goldstone report came out, Netanyahu says Israel faces 3 existential threats in the world today. He said 1, the missiles from Hezbollah and Hamas, 2, the Iranian nuclear device, and 3, the Goldstone report. Now they managed to kill the Goldstone report the first time, but it weighed very heavily on them that they may not be so fortunate the second time around. So that was a second factor they had to take into account. The third factor they had to take into account was this time they couldn't seal Gaza. If you remember in Operation Cast Lead, they didn't let any reporters in. And so there was only one lone Al Jazeera reporter reporting from Gaza, and they had a complete monopoly. Now they knew 2 things. 1, they're not going to have a monopoly. And 2, the international press is now much more critical of the way we're... Well, that came at the end. I'll get to that. But now, and the international press is now much more critical in its reportage from Israel. You take the classic case of the New York Times. 3 years ago, they had this fellow, Ethan Bronner, who basically just wrote out Israeli press releases. Now they have this woman, her name is Rudd Oren. She's not bad. She's not bad. The reportage in Gaza during the last Israeli assault was not bad. So now they have these 3 factors. The regional realignment, Goldstone 2 hanging over their heads, or as the Israelis said, a mega Goldstone, and the journalists in Gaza. And so now they were testing, this was Ehud Barak's idea, what kind of operation can we perform that will work in the new political environment? And that was Operation Cast Lead 2, or what they call Pillar of Defense. Turned out to be a complete disaster.